the end of the season, you'll be asking the question, what do I do next? So you can see behind me a flower meadow that we sowed in the spring, and it's been in flower now for months, getting on actually for 5 months of flower, sort of coming to the end, but not ready yet to cut down. It's still full of late flowering species like the cosmos that you can see, and it's a great resource for pollinating insects. So don't rush in to cut it down, but be ready as it fades further and dries to cut. And we're going to be visiting an area in a minute which was planted last autumn, which is completely dry now and ready to cut. This is a flower meadow containing annual and perennial plants, and it was sowed almost exactly a year ago. So what we see now is the spent flowers. One of the most important things is that the flower heads are ready to drop their seed. They're dry and they will drop to the ground and shed their seeds. And we're opening up the ground in readiness for the perennial growth next year by cutting the vegetation down. I'm using a scythe. It's a lovely tool to use, but you can do just as good a job with a mower on a high setting or a strimmer, or indeed if you're only using a small patch, just a good pair of head shears will do the job. The basic approach is to remove all of the vegetation here to a height of about 10 centimetres. Once you've cut back all of the vegetation, it's a good idea to leave the clippings down for a period of 7 days or so. This will allow the flowers to drop their seed, and it will also allow the clippings to wilt and they become much easier to manage. Clear them away and then preferably compost them. One of the best tools you can use for that job is a simple rake. This is a soil rake really, but it's quite a rigid rake, and it will help you not only to remove this vegetation, but we are going to be lightly scarifying and raking the ground as well, so that we're just opening up space for these seed heads to drop the seed for next year. First thing in the morning, you will see these areas covered in spiders' webs, and it's a good reminder that there's a lot of insect life here, and worth thinking about how much of this space we might just leave for nature. It's always worth leaving an area until next year, so an overwintering space for invertebrates. This flower meadow is almost exactly a year old, so it contains annuals, which we've seen throughout this last season, and for next year we will see perennial and biennial species, so there's very little really that needs to be added at this point. At a later stage you may wish to overseed, often in patches where there may be the need to add some annual flowers or some perennials, but at a fairly low sowing rate.